Democrat think tank Third Way released a memo that is creepier than Biden sniffing a kid's hair called "Was It Something I Said?" addressing how disconnected Democrats are from the average person with a lot of their language. You know what we're talking about, chest feeder, birthing person.
Her penis, you f***ing bigot.
The memo reads, the intent of this language is to include, broaden, empathize, accept, and embrace. The effect of this language is to sound like the extreme, divisive, elitist, and obfuscatory enforcers of wokeness.
Right.
It's not to sound like, it's to be extreme, divisive, elitist. This memo is spectacular and insane. It's like the Democrats are having a psychotic break. They're completely trying to separate their words from their actions. They've spent a decade telling us what to say and what not to say, and they went, well, this didn't work in getting us power, so let's try something new. Disregard that whole last decade. We're pivoting because we don't believe any of this bullshit anyways, and also, we're trying to find the guy that did this at the same time.
Son of a...
Was it something I said? Yes, it was everything you said. If only millions of people had told you, I'm going to have a psychotic break. I'm going to have one.
I've never been this angry in my entire life.
Back to this think tank, Third Way, which was founded by Clinton staffers. It's circulating this list of 45 words and phrases they want Democrats to avoid using, alleging the terms put a wall between us and everyday people of all races, religions, and ethnicities. It's a set of words that Third Way suggests people simply do not say, yet they hear them from Democrats. I encourage everybody to go read it on their own. We'll link it in the description below, because I read an article, a Politico article about the memo, and then I read the original source, and it's so much more spectacular than any of the coverage that it got. In fact, it's so spectacular, Maggie and I consider just me sitting here reading it and analyzing it, because it's bonkers in ways that are truly hard to articulate. The real clincher line that I love more than anything is they say, over the years, we've conducted, read, and analyzed hours upon hours of focus groups, and we've yet to hear a voter volunteer any of the phrases below, except as a form of derision or parody of Democrats.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
No shit, you guys. Among the blacklisted terms, privilege, violence, as in environmental violence, dialoguing, triggering, othering, microaggression, holding space, body shaming, subverting norms, systems of oppression, cultural appropriation, Overton window, existential threat to the climate, democracy, economy, etc., radical transparency, stakeholders, the unhoused, food insecurity, housing insecurity, person who immigrated, birthing person, cisgender, dead naming, heteronormative, patriarchy, LGBTQIA+, BIPOC, allyship, incarcerated people, involuntary confinement. I'm telling you, it takes everything in my being not to lose my fucking mind.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
We have literally devoted an entire show to trying to speak some sense to the Democrats. In fact, it's our 6th birthday today as you watch this. Happy birthday to Dumpster Fire! 6 years we've been covering. Dumpster Fire is, the consultants didn't need to write this. They could have just made people watch Dumpster Fire from the beginning to the current moment. Third Way's executive vice president of public affairs said, "We think language is one of the central problems we face with normie voters, signaling that we are out of touch with how they live, think, and talk." How do you do, fellow normie voters? What's so crazy is they're still sounding elitist. Even in this memo, they're like, oh, we're out of touch with those simple rubes who talk like morons. We need to dumb our language down a bit, and maybe then they'll see eye to eye to us, because they still think it's just what they're saying, not what they're actually doing that's connected to those things that they're saying. Finally, Finally, they add, we are not out to police language, ban phrases, or create our own form of censorship.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
That's exactly what you were out to do. That's what you spent a decade doing. There were mobs everywhere that were coming after people for using the wrong word. If anybody stepped out of line, they were called a bigot, a white supremacist. You created the conditions for all of this, and now you are the guy in the hot dog costume going, we're trying to find a guy that did this.
Someone drove a hot dog-shaped car through the window.
Come on, whoever did this, just confess. We promise we won't be mad.
We weren't out for censorship, right, guys? Right? No, we didn't implement all of this language in HR policies. We didn't have top-down diversity trainings that forced people to sit through ridiculous terms talking about birthing persons and microaggressions and the ways in which you could and could not speak to your coworker anymore.
Walmart's critical race theory training program denounces the United States as a white supremacy system and teaches white hourly wage employees that they are guilty of white supremacy thinking and internalized racial superiority.
No, none of that happened at all. We were just using words disconnected from the normie people. I'm going to fucking lose my mind. I'm going to lose my mind. If we can't do it this way, we're doing it the other way. In other words, we're still banning words. Like, they're still banning words. Now they're telling people not to use these words. It's words they made up. It is outrageous. It reads a little bit like the Democrats are having a psychotic break, but honestly, I'm probably going to be the one that has a psychotic break. The memo, spectacular memo, was it something we said? Goes on to read, in reality, most Democrats do not run or govern on wildly out-of-touch social positions. Also false. Many Democrats are aware that words and phrases we use can be profoundly alienating, but they use it because plain, authentic language that voters understand often rebounds badly among many activists and advocacy organizations. These activists and advocates may take on noble causes, but in doing so, they often demand compliance with their preferred messages. They're blaming the activists. They're trying to blame the activists and advocates, these think tanks, while they say, now, mind you, we've used some of this language in policies we've also written.
Do you hear yourself?
It goes on to say, that is how birthing person became a stand-in for mother or mom. Birthing person, chest feeder. Someone finally listened to Dumpster Fire because we've only been saying women! 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 For 6 years! I still can't believe how weirdly out of touch even this memo is while they're trying to be in touch. Another gem from the memo. As we fight racism and discrimination, we should reflect upon whether the words we are using are part of the reason Democrats are losing support from all non-white voter groups.
Well, well, well. Well, well, well. Well, well, well.
Oh, you mean you realize that the Latin community hates the term Latinx and you've been ignoring them telling you that for the last decade and you're finally hearing the consultant class who's telling you this? Also, hilariously hilarious. They capitalized white in the words non-white. At last, white gets the equal treatment as black in language. The memo ends by saying, recognize that much of the language above is a red flag for a sizable segment of the American public. It's not because they are bigots, but because they fear cancellation, doxing, or trouble with HR if they make a mistake. Excuse me?
Am I a joke to you?
You guys were the ones canceling people for language and running to HR. And it's so telling that you have to point out that people aren't necessarily bigots for not wanting to use the term inseminated person to describe Women! Women! Jimmy Kimmel came out and complained about word policing with Sarah Silverman last week. And I was like, bro, you're the head of the political HOA.
The party that is about inclusivity is incredibly elitist. You know, just fucking say, join us. Yes, come, join us. Yes.
What are you guys talking about? You are the king and queen of the political HOA. You guys have been policing words and pulling up the ladder behind you for the last fucking decade. And now you're like, oh, all these crazy liberals who sound so elitist, am I right? And he's like, I know. Did you hear that I got Italian fucking citizenship? You guys are out of your minds. There's so much goodness in this memo, truly. Communicating in authentic ways that welcome rather than drive voters away would be a good start. Yes, let's communicate in authentic ways by being completely inauthentic. Here are your talking points. Oh, they didn't work. Here are your new talking points. That's what this memo is. We compiled thousands of focus groups to communicate in authentic ways. Do you see how authentic we are? This is the fucking consultant class. They are the worst, truly, and always behind going, we told you. Here's what we've learned 10 years too late. Literally, people have been saying this since 2015, people like me. But honestly, how do I get some of that money? Give me some of that consulting money. Democrats, I will help you pivot out of this mess you guys are in that you keep put down the shovel. This is where the real money is at for us. Honestly, dumpster fire consulting should become a thing. I've been right for 6 years, but was anyone listening? Of course not, because who would listen to a birthing person chest feeder?
I'm not going to be ignored.
I'm still just astounded. These are all words that they invented. And this is a level of self-awareness that I wasn't really expecting from them. But when you read the original memo, you realize it's not self-awareness at all. And if it is, it's because they're sociopaths. This memo was actually insane because underneath all of the little lists, they have what it sounds like when you use these words. So when you're using words like chest feeder, it sounds like you're talking down to somebody and that you're speaking to them as if their beliefs about gender are quaint, not that they're trying to deconstruct all of gender and deconstruct reality as you know it. It sounds like the serial killer who has the broken leg and needs help getting a piece of furniture into the car. And when he's talking, he realizes he didn't really sell that limp and that he sounded a little too aggressive in asking for your help.
Put the fucking lotion in the basket.
We're not getting back into your van, Democrats. Okay?